So today I'm going to teach you how to make homemade chips and guacamole. This is Chipotle inspired, but of course I added my own little twist. It's very tasty, very good. This is actually part of a 2-part series where I'm going to teach you how I make my homemade Chipotle bowls. If you haven't already seen that recipe, it is up before this one. And this is going to be part 2 where I show you how to make the chips and guac. So even though this video is going up as part 2, this is actually the first step in my homemade Chipotle little concoction or meal. The reason I make my guacamole first is because I like it served chilled. So I'll make it and put it in the refrigerator, make my chips, and then I'll go ahead and make everything else. Also, it's a great idea to make it first, so that when your family is getting anxious while you're cooking, you have a nice appetizer snack for them to snack on. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you're going to need are avocados. You use as many as you want. I usually go with large Hass avocados. Those taste the absolute best, and they're what I recommend. My husband picked these up from the grocery store. They're just normal avocados. I don't even know what brand they are, but they'll do for today. Lots of cilantro. This is actually one whole bunch, rinsed and chopped up and ready to go. I like a lot of cilantro, but I won't use this whole thing. Lemon or lime. I typically use lime, but sometimes I go back and forth and I'll use a lemon. So today we'll be using lemon. To season my guacamole, I typically just do sea salt and a little dash of cumin. I really love the way this tastes in my guacamole. You can add black pepper, lemon pepper, or whatever suits you. Some people even add like sriracha and stuff like that. And then also some people add a jalapeno. Most people add a jalapeno. I do that a lot of the times. This is also a secret little ingredient that I love to use. This is the Envasa brand Chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. This is actually how I marinate the chicken for my Chipotle chicken in the bowls that you already seen in that video. And what I do is usually I'll keep just a little bit, maybe a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon, just depending on how I feel. And if you've seen in that video, this is actually large peppers in the sauce, and I just keep a little bit of that sauce and I add this in as a substitute for the actual jalapeno peppers. You can do both, but my son eats the guacamole, so I don't want it too hot. I just want this flavor. So your first step is going to be to take your avocados and remove the skin and get them into the bowl. Just take a spoon and scoop it out. I also take the other, grab a spoon. And when you scoop it like that, usually the nut will come right out. Continue to scoop. Make sure you don't get any of the skin in your guacamole because it tastes gross. So this is what the avocado looks like. Usually I would do more, but it's just for me and my son tonight. So 2 small avocados was enough. Usually I would take a potato masher and mash up my avocados, but because mine was starting to rust or something weird, I went ahead and threw it away the other day. So I'm just going to take a fork and just begin to mash. So I pretty much will mash it flat like this, and then I'll go ahead and add some of my ingredients and then begin to stir it all together. So I'm going to take a dash of cumin and throw it in. Feel free to throw your seasonings in gradually so that you don't over season your guacamole. And then I'm going to take my favorite sea salt and I'm going to add a little bit of this. I'm also going to squeeze in my lemon. Again, if you prefer lime, use that. I'm also going to go ahead and add in my cilantro. Now I take a nice big handful because I like a lot. And then I'm going to add in some of that sauce. I'm going to take a separate spoon and I'm going to taste it just to make sure it's seasoned exactly how I want it. Definitely needs a little bit more lemon. Now that it's pretty much the consistency that I wanted and I have all the ingredients perfect, my last step is to add a little bit of red onion. Red onion is hands down my favorite kind of onion, and I actually like it when it's added in last because I kind of like the way it tastes when it has that little bit of crunch. Now this would look and taste so much better if I would have gotten my large Hass avocados, but this is still going to taste really, really, really good. I'm going to give it one last taste to make sure it is exactly how I want it. It's absolutely perfect. It's chunky. I like extra cilantro and it's in there, and I also have that beautiful red onion that still has that crunch to it. So now that we have the guacamole ready, we're going to put it into a bowl and start on our chips. So this is our guacamole. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator to chill while I go ahead and make the tortilla chips. So next you're going to make your homemade tortilla chips. All you need is some corn tortillas. I'm going to use this brand here because it's pretty much in every grocery store I've ever been to. A little bit of lemon. I'm just going to take the remainder of what I used from the guacamole because I don't need too much. And then also, of course, some seasoned salt. And I've already pre-cut a bunch of tortilla here. This is actually only 3 tortillas cut, but I'll show you really quickly while we wait for our oil to heat up how to do it. So you take as many tortillas as you want to prepare. This is like 4. I don't need this much. Actually, we'll go ahead and do it. So this is like 4 tortillas right here. So just keep your tortillas stacked. You take a knife and you cut them down the center. And make sure you go all the way through. And then just flip it around and cut it down the center. So basically you're going to cut it down the middle horizontally, and then you're going to cut it down the middle vertically. And then voila, you have your tortilla chips. This is plenty. This is actually more than what I'll need, but I just wanted to show you guys how that works. So now I'm going to test the fire and see if it's hot enough. If this fries, then we're ready to go. I'm also going to take a clean bowl, and I'm also going to put some paper towel in it. That way, as the chips are done being cooked, I can throw them into this bowl and it will sop up the excess oil. Now, if you think they're done, just take one out. And you can look at it and see how you feel about it. Okay, so these are our finished chips. We're gonna just make sure that we got as much of that oil off of them as possible. Leave them on the fire for anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. They do cook really, really fast, so make sure you keep an eye out. Now we're just gonna squeeze that lemon. Toss them so they all get a little bit of that on them. Now add your salt, not too much, but you want to toss that as well. And here is the finished product. All I did was I took my guacamole out of the refrigerator. It's perfectly cold now. I added it to the center of a plate, and then I filled the plate around the guacamole with the tortilla chips.